Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on over to another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Torrio. Today's episode is being brought to you by Upwork, up over inside of New York City. A helicopter actually just crashed over in the Hudson River, and at first, nothing looked suspicious at all until we started to get additional videos from people on the ground. First thing we saw was parts of the blades that were falling down. Now there's a video that just came out, which is the reason I'm going live, of all of these different freaking parts and pieces. The helicopter literally fell out of the dang sky in pieces. Like, you can see the freaking like main cabin area, and then you can see like the tail is completely and totally missing from it as it's falling out of the sky. So we're going to go over there and we're going to check for some quick updates. And right before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a quick listen to our friends from Upwork.
Your company's growing, congratulations, and scaling up your business requires expertise, but it also requires time. And let's be honest, time is money, and posting ads on the internet the old school fashioned way kind of sucks, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Allow me to introduce you to Upwork. They have over 2 decades worth of experience with simple and ambitious goals to pioneer a better way of working. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and to find more flexibility in the way they staff key projects and initiatives by accessing a global marketplace filled with the top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, admin support, marketing, and much more. Posting a job on Upwork is easy with no cost to join. You can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job, and even book a consultation all in one place. Visit upwork.com now and post your job for free. That's upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's upwork.com. Upwork.com.
All right. So yeah, this is freaking insane. I'm going to put this up on the screen because this is the first video that we ended up seeing over there. Reports ended up coming in about, I don't know, an hour or so ago. About an hour or so ago, we ended up having these suckers come in. And this report within itself, I mean, first thing, it was like a plane crashed into the river. Then it was some form of, I don't, how do I want to say this? It was a plane crash, and then it was followed by, okay, it's a helicopter. Then it's 2 people are dead. Now it's God only knows what the hell is happening. So check this out. This is the very first video that we ended up getting. And what you're seeing down here on the screen, right here in the water, this right here, what up there, Portland, Oregon? Thank you for tuning in. So this one right down here on the water that you're seeing right here, this is the actual like main chunk, right? Like the cabin area of that helicopter that ended up hitting the water. And what you're going to see right here, and you can kind of see it right up over here above the skyline. Let me get this big up on your screen. Right over here above the skyline, this is actually one of the main blades. And then you're going to see another one that splashes down right over here. So wait for it. So there you go. Those are the 2 pieces of blades that ended up going down. All right, one splash right here and one right here. So I originally saw this and it went down, but I know it's a problem. All right, we're getting a bad lag. All right, let me see if I can correct said lag. But just a sec, it'll get back in there. Okay, so you guys should be good to go now. Shouldn't really have a lag or any other. You guys good to go now? I see you guys saying lag, lag, lag. All right. You guys should be good to go now. Everybody good to go? All right. So this is originally what we were seeing. All right. Tristan Allen says, hey, Matt, my wife's uncle could use prayers right now. He is going through a big fight with lung cancer. He isn't allowed to work or anything. So there has been a GoFundMe set up to help pay for treatment. Can we try to help out? Yeah. I mean, I don't see an issue with us trying to help out with that. Just post the link for that one down below. Tristan Allen, you've been a true supporter for a very long time. So yeah, by all means, Lord, please look out for Tristan's family. Look over his uncle right now, who is having a horrible bout with lung cancer, and take care of him. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So originally, I'm gonna report on this again because I guess there was some lag going on. Sorry about those lag issues, but we're gonna go ahead and get those fixed. All right. For better internet. No, that's not it, SB. It's something else. All right. So here is the issues that are going on. All right. So originally, here's the video that we first got. Already down here in the water, you can see the blade of the helicopter is detached from it, and the helicopter's down. Now, somebody had commented when I first posted about this on X, saying it is very possible that you know, when the helicopter ended up going down, that the blades end up spinning off and tumbling in and up through the sky. And you're going to see one blade falling here and one falling here. But what I noticed is that blade is going straight down as it's coming in. So if the helicopter had hit the water and was tumbling, or had hit something in a forward type momentum, it wouldn't have made sense. If it would have fallen straight down like that, then it could have bounced up and it would have came back down, but it's also flipping. So it's making me wondering what the hell is going on. Watch. You're going to see it. Blade splash, and you can see him coming out the sky. Now, that within itself is kind of weird to me, right? When I looked at that and I looked at the comments on it, people trying to tell me this is what's going down, this is what happened. And then this video came out. Now, there is no other reports as far as I'm aware, not a single other report as far as I'm aware of any other mid-air collisions over there inside of New York City. Then this video came out. Right here is the main part of the helicopter, and you can see all the parts and pieces of it trailing out the sky. So this thing is broken apart on its way down. All right, so I'm still seeing a lot of issues. People are telling me that they're having issues with the stream right now. I'm not sure what the hell's going on. Everything should be up to date, so this shouldn't be a problem, but it's still reporting it that way. Is everybody hearing me 5x like you guys got me over here? Everybody's doing pretty good on it? I would hope so. Certainly hope so. All right. So, yeah, the question is why is the tail missing on this helicopter? And the only two things that I can think of is, one, a midair collision, because the helicopter is not going to be splitting into parts and pieces this way. I mean, look at this sucker. Literally split into parts and pieces. Let me get this up. Literally split into parts and pieces. Let's push this again so that you guys can see it. Let me get it nice and big. All right. Here you can see the main portion of the helicopter. The tail is gone. The tail is flipping gone. The blades are off of it. The blades don't even exist on this helicopter right now. Sky God coming in, gifting out 20 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother. So how the hell does this happen? And with my military mind frame, I can think of two things that could make it happen. One being a midair collision, and another one being, I mean, I hate to say it, man, some form of freaking surface to air munition. And I really hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong on this, because that right there isn't normal. Now, I saw reports of 2 bodies getting pulled out of the fuselage first, and then it was 4 and or 5. Right. And reportedly what it was this is a tour helicopter that was flying around New York City. This is what I'm hearing. A tour helicopter that was flying around New York City. Somebody said ejection seat. I also got told, Tristan, I don't think I missed your first super chat. We prayed for him. I think maybe it just didn't hit right. But yeah, Tristan, in case you ended up missing it, Lord, please look over Tristan, his family, his uncle, as they go through this bout of cancer, heal any of their pain that they might have, and please take care of them and look after them in Jesus' name. Amen. I have no idea what would cause this. So the main reason I decided to go live, even though we have these 2 videos, is number 1, we do have the Discord server, and we have a lot of people who are very, very intelligent that are over there. And so I'm going to open up the Discord server. If anybody can come out with a very good explanation of this, that would be nice to know. Because right now I don't have one. If the blade broke off, or if there was an issue with the blade that caused a malfunction, it goes back and I don't know, ends up hitting the tail rotor maybe, and that could take it and snap it. I'm trying to think of anything at all possible that would allow this to happen. And clearly I got a freaking report on this thing before everybody ends up ripping this video down. I don't know. I don't think that's a survivable crash. Maybe it is. I have no idea. It is clearly like slowed down a lot as that goes out. And as all of this continues to develop, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys do have any information on this, if you have any new videos that you come across, my X account is linked right down here. All right, right here on your screen. Get your butt over there and go send me whatever videos or tag me in different things that you might have that would be relevant to this particular thing. So we're actively watching this as it's going down. Okay. Looks like Bell 407 slide gear. They thankfully were able to pop the floats. these pop-out floats are designed. Okay, so here's another thing. So somebody's saying that this was a Bell 407 and that they have floats and things that pop out, which is why that sucker would have been floating on top of the water. So that's nice that that exists. But what we're seeing is like the bottom of this sucker, like floating upside down in the water, right? Like it's literally like a part and chunk. And that's cool, except for the fact that this whole thing is broken into multiple different parts and pieces. Yes, a drone hitting the tail is something else that came to mind. If somebody took a drone and flew it into this helicopter, would that happen? Now, I thought about that, and those blades are incredibly, incredibly tough. And so this would have to be a massive drone to be able to hit that thing and break those blades apart in order to cause all of that freaking tumbling in order for it to come out of the sky of that nature. Because we're talking a serious freaking whack. Like a serious whack to that sucker. Here we go. Here's another video. Good. All right. Got another video that you guys just sent in to me. Let's take a look at this. Let's get it blown up big on the screen. So not really quite sure what we're looking at there in that video, minus it just kind of happening. Somebody said this is a helicopter before crashing. You see the pilot was doing some very dangerous maneuvers that the helicopter could not eventually handle. So somebody now is saying over rotation, that we need to look up over rotation. If that's the case, and that's what's happening here inside of this video, that helicopter pilot was off screwing around and he's just kind of like banking very hard and things of that nature. I'm assuming we're going to have some pilots in here that might say that, yep, that helicopter, that airframe's not made to handle those types of Gs. Then it's possible for that thing to start breaking and coming apart. But I don't see it doing anything extremely crazy. I mean, maybe if I was a helicopter pilot, well, right there, I guess he's diving out of the sky and coming back up. So maybe that's it, the way he's diving and coming down, and that's going to weaken the airframe in order to make that happen. If it lost the tail, it would have been rotating, somebody says. That's Brandon Cook coming in saying that. So if it lost the tail, it would have been rotating. So somebody that is a helicopter pilot, please let me know down in there, or somebody that's familiar with helicopter aviation. The more I think about it, I think I might have a friend that would actually know a little bit more about this. Might call him in order to get that sent in. Here is another video, good, that just got sent in. And this is the same exact one of the helicopter just messing around up over there outside of the freaking Hudson. Let's give it another look, and then we're going to pull back up and show the aftermath of this thing, or what it looked like as it came down. So, yeah, I mean, it's coming straight down, diving out of the sky and going down. I could only assume that that would put a hell of a lot of freaking weight on that thing as it's going. But even after it pulled that maneuver, it's still continuing to fly. Is this an extended version? Is it going to do more, or is it going to now break apart and fall? Good question. It's moving just fine. It's still flying. It flies off. Okay, so we're not really, other than it just doing some wild freaking dive maneuver and going up in the sky, the helicopter still appears to be, yeah, some people are saying overstressed. So that could be a very good cause for this crash, of that helicopter being overstressed, and it's starting to appear that way now more than ever. So let me go over here and show you guys what this sucker looked like as it fell out of the dang sky. Roman Atwood is a helicopter pilot. So let's do this. Let's open up the Discord, because it seems that we have a lot of you guys. So if we can get you guys up over into the Discord chat, and please just come up to the Discord if you're a pilot, or you have more knowledge and information on this, because we do have a very good Discord server. If you're a true supporter, you'll be able to access that information. And there is a link that is posted up over inside on our recent post. All right, so we are now up and in the Discord server. I'm going to go ahead and turn that camera on so we can get folks in here. Go ahead, if you are a helicopter pilot, please raise your hand and come up in here. This seems to be a more plausible explanation than somebody shooting crap out of the sky. That would kind of make sense. So let me pull this up and let me play this last video here for you guys that actually shows it falling out of the dang sky. That's the different parts and pieces of it. Here we go. Here is the actual video of it coming down. So what people are saying is this helicopter would be overstressed the way that it ends up coming down. And you can see like right here, the main freaking cabin of this sucker is just falling down to the ground. Boom. And there's all the parts and pieces. So, I mean, it's flat out coming down in freaking chunks. So let's go see if we got some pilots in here that are going to be able to explain it. Let's see here. B. Cook, I hope you're a freaking pilot or you know a thing or two about this. If you guys are not pilots, I asking you not to come up if you are a helicopter pilot and you're a member of the Discord server, or maybe if you're like a mechanic or you got military experience or you're a crew chief, that would also freaking help. Don't have to necessarily be a pilot, but you can actually explain this stuff in depth. That would be amazing. Another view of the blades are going down.
If you take a look at the Discord chat, somebody just sent the screen grab of that video, and you can clearly see, and it's encircled, the 3 separate parts falling separately.
So
it's
that's
a pretty good
what I'm
grab.
looking at right now, I think. Let me blow that up. This one? Did they send this
No,
one?
there's this in the thing has 3 circles of. It's a screen grab. It's just a picture.
Okay.
It's in the Discord here. I'll send it to you on X.
Yep.
I think it's the pilot might have over torqued, lost an hydraulic line, and that's
I see the screen grab right there.
very
Yeah, so
yeah that
tail rotor, main rotor blade, and the main body, right, as it's going down. I mean, we can see that stuff going in there. I mean, that whole main rotor looks like it had just completely and totally separated in that picture. But at the same time, it also looks like it's attached. So
no, that's the bottom. That's the legs.
that's the
that looks
bottom.
that's
Yes.
the one that you're seeing. It's upside down. So that would be
You're
the legs of the
Those are the legs
body.
of it. Yes, sir. Yep, that makes perfect sense now. So yeah, I mean, if he's freaking torquing on it that hard, if he's coming down and torquing on it that hard, it literally would have ripped the freaking rotor blades out then. Accurate statement?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so. The most helicopter crashes that I've watched, and I've studied a little bit about helicopters because I had an interest at one point of flying. It's the hydraulics that are very sensitive. The main rotor is connected by a shaft that is probably the strongest part of the whole helicopter that connects it to the gearbox that actually drives that shaft. But it's all controlled by hydraulics, and the number one failure of helicopters falling out is usually hydraulic lines failing, and you have zero control of things, and then things start doing whatever it wants. But you saw that splash in that video. You see things falling way before the helicopter landed. So that means that there's already things splashing, and that helicopter is still way, way above in the air. So that means it broke apart at very, very high altitude. It has to have been.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And you see it like before the crash that it's going up and into the sky to where it's taking off. So this whole thing is freaking wild to me, right? Like if the hydraulics,
I'm trying to reach out because I have guys in New York City working law enforcement and in medical. Some friends of mine that I grew up with. I've messaged a few. I have not got any response. So as soon as I get something on there, maybe if I can even get somebody on the scene.
Yeah,
to call in.
I'm kind of with them. Like I could see it being overstressed or a freaking hydraulic line fail, something of that nature. Because it's seeming more and more like that, you know, the more we go. But the fact that like it looks like a huge chunk, like as that sucker's coming out of the sky on that screen grab that they ended up pulling, like you can see the freaking bottom, like it looks like it just ripped it straight off the roof in that screen grab.
And I don't know why people are saying they were able to deploy floats.
No, well, because
that is not impacting with floats. There's no floats on that impact. Maybe after the impact, the floats automatically
deployed.
Inflate.
Yeah.
So they have water sensors. The floats, the sensors get wet and it pops.
Dude, but even then, man, I mean, I don't know. Like it just doesn't seem
Were
normal.
they saying people survived?
Unknown right now. They haven't put that out.
Oh.
They haven't put that out yet. All I know is that they pulled, well, Fox News is reporting, I've seen 4 people pulled out of it, and I've seen 5 people pulled out of it. At first it was 2. But yeah, I mean, if he's doing crazy crap like that, those crazy maneuvers that the helicopter's not able to do,
Yeah,
like,
there's
that's
just
a
a
pretty deep
post right
dive.
now saying that all 6 people in the helicopter crashed in the Hudson River did not survive.
I see 3 kids killed and 6 total. I mean, if you're doing a helicopter tour and you're asking the pilot to do some crazy fun stuff like this, and that pilot would just be absolutely ridiculous for
I
doing
don't
it.
think they would do it, man. I think
Do you think maybe this is a sign that there was an issue with the helicopter?
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. Those maneuvers might have been he was already fighting something that was wrong. Like he was trying to gain altitude, thinking he can auto rotate if he lost anti-torque or whatever. You know, when you go down with the helicopter, you want to gain altitude because you can then
you can
use
glide.
the actual. If you still have propellers on there, you can use that to just try to come down on a slower speed. So he might have tried to gain altitude and done these maneuvers. Here's somebody in the chat says former U.S. Army CW2. Looks like the pilot flew into IMC, got disoriented, and banking descent began. He regained visual of the ground and then attempted to recover, pulled over too much cycle, caused a boom strike. Yeah, that makes sense. That really makes sense. Whatever that guy just said, drive-by.
Where's that comment? Is it in the Discord?
It's in the chat. It's in the chat. Yeah, it's like 4 messages up. It's by drive-by shooting.
Oh yeah, okay. Here we go. Former U.S. Army CW2 looks like the pilot flew into IMC, got disoriented, a banking descent began. He regained visual of the ground and, in an attempt to recover, pulled too much cyclic, causing a boom strike. That's interesting.
That can make sense too, because that's how you explained how the rotor is completely ripped off from the body of the helicopter. So that would also explain that, because if he overcycled, then he would I mean, yeah. There's a lot that could happen there. That's crazy. You know, I know exactly where that is. That's like less than 5 minutes from where I grew up.
Yeah, here we go. What causes a boom strike? Let's go get that up and take a look and see if it's kind of there. Proper mechanical setup will not cause any boom strikes. No, that can't be it.
Boom strike probably caught the tail and snapped the main shaft, is what people saying.
A boom strike in a helicopter occurs when the main rotor blade strikes the tail. Boom. That would make sense, I guess. This usually happens due to a combination of factors, including loose parts, incorrect setup, or improper piloting techniques. A boom strike can be a serious event, potentially leading to it. Okay, well, that's interesting. I didn't even know that, like, mechanically it would allow for that. But I guess if it overstresses because he's got too much and it's going up and it's pulling back, it could end up causing that and then weaken everything. As he's flying, then the whole thing just freaking shatters.
Matt, do we have a flight path of the helicopter?
I could end up pulling it up. It would take me a minute, though, and I feel like by the time I end up getting that done, more stuff's going to end up coming out on it. So
I'm just curious how long he was in the air based off a flight path. He might have been in the air for just taking off, or he might have been in the air for a while and something went wrong. But in some videos, you can see the rotors are still spinning. There's an actual tail number if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, I can go look it up here in a sec. I mean, all we're going to end up seeing off of that is kind of like the path he took and then just him disappearing. But we'll be able to get like some altitude and things like that off of it, knowing where he's coming in and going out. Give me just one sec here. Because
I just sent you the tail number on X.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so 6 people confirmed dead inside of the Hudson River based on it. Give me one sec as I pull this new one up. Jeez.
Eyewitness saying that they saw the rotor flying off in the sky before the helicopter even crashed as he was watching it.
So here you go. Check this one out. This is another similar incident from years ago. And what you're going to see is the tail is off of it and the helicopter's kind of like flipping and rotating through. So right there, you can see the tail of the freaking helicopter has separated and then this other one goes back up. And it's just ripping in pieces as it goes.
Yeah.
Yep. So once that rotor's gone, now we got it like ripping in pieces as it goes. I appreciate you for sending that in, whoever you are. Yeah, I mean, you really look at that, and that is, there goes. Now it strikes. Yep. So if he had that boom strike as it was going, like he goes to overcorrect on that crap, he has a boom strike, it weakens the frame. Now that the frame's freaking weak, as it's flying, eventually it breaks apart, and he's tumbling through the damn air. And then it ends up striking more and more because the entire thing is just busted to freaking pieces as it's going out, which is insane to me. That's exactly what, like, if that's looking more and more like exactly what happened. I didn't even know that was a remote possibility for these dang things, if he was doing that. And it's freaking nuts. All right, give me 1 sec here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pay the freaking sponsors real quick because we ended up having a streaming issue, and I will be right back.
Your company's growing, congratulations, and scaling up your business requires expertise, but it also requires time. And let's be honest, time is money, and posting ads on the internet the old school fashioned way kind of sucks, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Allow me to introduce you to Upwork. They have over 2 decades worth of experience with simple and ambitious goals to pioneer a better way of working. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and to find more flexibility in the way they staff key projects and initiatives by accessing a global marketplace filled with the top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, admin support, marketing, and much more. Posting a job on Upwork is easy with no cost to join. You can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job, and even book a consultation all in one place. Visit Upwork.com now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com.
I see somebody asking about merch, NFG apparel, and everything else. NFGshop.com. You can go over and get all your merch and stuff like that over there for the channel. All right. Yeah, let's get the sucker. Let's take a look at this thing, man. Texas, you still hanging out with me?
Yeah, yep. I'm here. I'm just looking at some of the things. There's the floats looks like they're out, but they don't look like they're inflated. So
right.
What I think happened is they inflated as they were already in the water, started inflating, and then it started taking on, like it was already impacted.
It's already taking on water, so it can't, so it's just bobbing.
There's a photo of the helicopter basically upside down, just the legs sticking out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then the NYPD and FDNY vessels are next to it. And you can see the floats pop, but you can also see that they have not been inflated because part of them are still in the float like case, like that holds the floats.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it actually would have done anything or did anything. So the whole thing that the flates managed to open, that's a waste of.
Yeah, and so just to keep everybody up to par here, what basically the sounds like of what happened is we had this pilot that was doing some crazy maneuvers up there. Let me get this up. So this pilot's doing some crazy maneuvers as he's going through the sky. And we had a CW2 or an Army helicopter pilot that was on here. CW2 is actually his rank. We got this video in, and this video ends up showing the helicopter itself prior to crashing. And what the pilot suggested was that he was out flying. He ends up losing like line of sight of where he's going or whatever. And he starts banking and pulling out, or he's like rotating and coming down. And he spots the ground here. And as he spots the ground, he goes, oh crap, and goes to pull out. That starts to overstress or overcorrect, causing those blades to go back and cause what's known as like a boom strike, where essentially the blades are contacting the back of the freaking helicopter. That would then allow this helicopter to fly off here. See, there you see him come back up and correct. Potential overcorrection, potential for too much stress to where the blades end up striking the freaking rear end of the freaking helicopter along that tailpiece. And then it just continues to go out. right? As it's flying up, it's already weakened. And then as it's weakened, it just begins to break apart, which is sad. So here you can see the helicopter going out and he's gaining altitude thinking he did okay, or he ended up pulling out of this whole thing. James says, I sent you a text. Looks like 407s have a history on boom separation issue, called for extra maintenance. You've got to be kidding me, man. That's freaking insane if that's real. Give me one sec here. Because I also wanted to get this other bit up. This other video, all right, shows exactly what we're talking about inside of this one. Here you can see the helicopter is already busted into two different pieces. It's from years ago. This doesn't happen, but you can see where the tail has separated from it, and the blades like just end up striking the back of it after the tail has already separated as it's going down into the ground. So if that's the case of what ended up happening here, which now it looks more and more like that's exactly what went down in order to cause this helicopter to come down. Word is now that there was 6 people on board and that they are all dead. That then resorted in this portion of the crash that we were able to see, where you have the main fuselage that's broke away, followed by a rotor and the tail rotor on that helicopter as it's crashing down.
Yeah, the last message Volk sent in, he says, just looked over the flight radar playback, and the helicopter went from 1,100 feet altitude down to 350 feet in just a couple of minutes with the highest speed of 105 knots before crash. My logical assumption is boom strike combined with rotor over torque that caused the assembly to shift from the drive shaft, and I 100% agree with that. And guy knows a little bit about helicopters, in my opinion.
Seems to. Yeah, and then on top of all that crap, I just got sent this as well, which would be the maintenance for the freaking helicopter. It looks like, and when did this come out? November of 22. So still quasi-relevant. Bell 407 operators are advised, are advised to torque check tail boom attachment hardware following a June in-flight separation accident. So all the way back in June of 22, they ended up having this issue as well. Tail boom separation on a Bell 407 has prompted the FAA's FAST teams to issue a special notice reminding all operators that the standard FAA blah, 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 to torque check the boom's attachment hardware every 300 hours. So that's another issue that already goes into it. So now we know that there is like previous freaking, previous issues of this. And I mean, it could be that maybe there wasn't a boom strike that ended up happening on this. It could just be that the helicopter was, performing and that everything wasn't torqued to spec, maybe. But that does look like he was pulling some pretty freaking serious G's prior to that sucker getting hit. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, it looks like definitely looks like something went very wrong there. It doesn't look like anything on purpose. It's, at least from what I see.
No, it
just definitely looks like something went wrong. But I don't understand, and this is something I never understood living in New York City my whole life, growing up in New York City. Is you look at the weather. Like, who goes on a helicopter tour in this weather?
I mean, you end up scheduling them. You know what I mean? I would think that they would have rescheduled this as opposed to continue to fly. But that's
what I'm saying. It's so cloudy and like foggy, and I don't know. But yeah, it looks like a very, very horrible accident is all it looks like. It doesn't look like anything.
Yeah. It just looks like it was a horrible accident. And the more like you actually think and analyze this about where it's at, it's not even like the helicopter pilot was off like screwing around. I think that what they were talking about is pretty accurate, that he was going to gain a visual, ended up getting too damn close to the ground, overcorrected. And dang thing just freaking got too weak and busted apart. Patrol says, no, it looks like a bomb blew it apart. So Michael Reichert.
Yeah, that definitely not.
He's a 12-year helicopter mechanic. He has worked on the 407s and the 205s. I'm asking him for his opinion to see if he's got any other information or what he thinks about it. Because if that is an issue or that's a well-known, way that these things end up busting apart, then sure. I could 100% see that.
This is wild. People are just like twisting things. People are like saying, "Oh, they should look at the people that are in there." The same thing happened in 1989 when one of the Trump's personnel is supposed to go testify against him, ended up crashing in the same way in New York City in a helicopter. Like, people are just wild on the internet. You can't take him seriously. But yeah, it looks like a very bad accident.
Yeah. The Jesus bolt is a slang term used in the aviation world, particularly among helicopter pilots and mechanics, for the main rotor retaining bolt. The critical bolt holds the main rotor system to the mast of the helicopter. If it fails or comes loose, the rotor can separate from the aircraft, resulting in catastrophic failure, hence the name, because if it goes, you're meeting Jesus. I mean, to me, it looks like there's a lot of freaking plausible explanations for this, other than somebody putting a ding bomb in the helicopter. Yeah, if that sucker overstresses in the way that they're saying, and that you get the boom strike, and or you also have the maintenance issues with this helicopter from the past, to where it's going to freaking do that, then the entire helicopter is going to separate and freaking come apart either way. Either from the stress from just the torque of going back and forth on that sucker. Yeah, I mean, and what's crazy to me is when you look at these blades, which I was talking about earlier, is this one right here that's kind of like in the center is just straight up, looks like it's falling straight down. It's just flipping in freaking circles as it's going.
I don't know if I'm live or not, am I?
Yeah, you're live.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I've been saying I was like, I'm waiting for Matt to introduce me. Sorry, I've never been up on the stage to talk before. I worked on Hueys and Cobras in the Marine Corps, and the biggest problem you have with especially new pilots and seasoned pilots is called either an over torque or over speed on the mast, which most of those can happen, and both of those will cause this. When you over torque and it does a boom strike, the Jesus nut probably was there by the picture I was looking at. The mast, the blades over torqued, hit the toe boom. The gearbox oversped and sheared the mast off. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So the mast is what the blade's actually attached to, which will cause, and the toe boom's only held on by 4 bolts.
That's it.
They're not safetied. It's kind of wild.
I mean, you would think that they would have some more on there but I guess maybe it weakens it too much. So you're doing like maximum, I don't know, man. That's just some engineer shit. But it's a giant vibrating piece of steel. And if you throw off the vibration a little bit, there's actually some really cool test stands you can see, because they do tests to see what happens. Especially, I think the Chinook was the one I saw recently. And they will just shear into pieces. Yeah.
All it takes is about 5 pounds.
I'm sorry,
they will
what?
shatter. It doesn't take much. The little weights you put in are about the palm of your hand to balance the blades.
No kidding.
And so any little vibration and you got to think too, if that blade stopped immediately, it has a drive shaft that runs on top of the tail boom to the rear rotor. That doesn't stop. So then it's like almost hitting a water puddle. Everything just starts spinning faster than it should, and the whole thing falls apart.
Wow. Well, there we go.
The reason why they flip upside down is because all the weight's on top of them. We actually, before I deployed in 2010, we had to go through crash training. They put you in a mock helicopter in the pool in Pendleton, drop you in the water, and you're not allowed to move until it flips upside down, because 99% of helicopter crashes, you're going upside down.
No kidding.
It's just the way they're built. They're top heavy.
Yeah, extreme. Yeah, I mean, all of that makes sense. The way that you can see the sucker falling out of the sky, the way that everything's breaking apart, the other, video that we have of that tail coming off, plus the maintenance issues with the tail that have already been identified earlier on. The fact that we have the video of the guy like doing a deep dive and then like having to have a serious correction to come out of that dive on his way out of it, all of that adds up for why this thing would have split apart. What's funny to me is over in the comment section over on YouTube, we still have people like over in the freaking chat that are saying like you're not credible. You have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's just, no, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
It is what it is. It fell out of the sky. It can't be a bomb. The doors are still on.
Right.
It's too intact to be anything intentional. They've known about the toe boom issue on Hueys, at least, since the 70s. I mean, it's something we regularly did in the military, was to retorque them.
So you got to sit there and just crank on these things. It says every 300 hours, but I would assume like you might want to do that more. Like that to me seems like
I would say we actually did it more, but that's just because of trainee pilots that would over torque or overspeed the airframe. And there's all kinds of maintenance hours. For every, I think, hour of flight, it was like 10 hours on the ground.
That's insane.
Just because helicopters aren't meant to fly. They're really not.
Well, I would assume maybe that the pilot kept the sucker out over the river, knowing that he was going through some type of a failure because, I mean, he's got other options, but that one, I mean, I don't even know if you have control of the aircraft.
They're not allowed to leave. They have a flight path they're required to take, and I'm pretty sure it keeps them on the river. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to actually ingress closer to the buildings. They have a straight line they're allowed to go.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume
regulations in New York City is very, very strict.
Well, right. And I mean, dude, where was it that
yeah, I'm looking. It's still a very active scene, by the way. I got a live camera on the West Side Highway.
Jen sent that over.
It's the,
you want the big tell is going to be when they find the actual mast, whether or not I forget what you call it now, is still connected.
Yeah.
Because normally the Jesus nut comes off, the tail will be intact. We lost one in 2003 in Iraq.
Okay.
I want to say. But the Jesus nut actually came off and the blades just separate.
So it almost
like a rock
looks,
in a fan.
So it almost looks, and I'll put it up on the screen here in a minute because I can't remember who the heck it was that sent this in to me. Give me one sec. Could have been Texas that actually sent it in. Give me one sec right here.
I sent you a lot of things in the last half hour.
Yeah, I'm looking for that screen grab.
Oh, that was on the Discord with the 3 separate parts. That's on the Discord.
Yeah, that was a good screen grab. This is the live feed. Can you see that?
I'll send it to you right now on X. That screen grab.
Oh, Texas. That just takes me to the New York ones. What's the name of the camera?
Oh, you have to find the actual camera. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
That's fine.
That's just the scene of the street of the West Side Highway. All you see is like half the street still blocked with a bunch of police cars and unmarked, like looks like feds and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Do you have that original picture they sent? Can you see if it's got the shaft in the map?
It's West Street at West Hudson. It's called. So
West Street at West Hudson. What tab is it on?
Just put the region New York City area, county New York, and then it should be on the first tab.
I see it. It dropped down. West Street.
Yeah, you just click show video versus show image, and then you'll see the live video. It's actually pretty dang clear for a public camera. They usually
at West Houston.
Yeah, West Street at West Houston. That's the pier right there. So that if you look at that building to the right, that would be the pier where you see all the video feed of the police trucks and everything. That would be that building.
So that's
to the right.
The pier right off over there to the side. Yep.
Yes, and then you can see that if you. Yeah.
Yep, that would track for what's going on. I mean, they're going to be dealing with this crap for a while.
Yeah. I'm trying to see because a lot of people, there's some people that record that there's another angle. Some people that record these cameras that run like databases. I need to find out if we can go back because there is, and it looks like it's offline, which is kind of like a little strange. But there is a camera that looks out over the pier. That they have, but it's offline. It doesn't show a video feed. It just shows the thing. But if there's a camera that looks over that pier, and if there's somebody that has the file of that pre-recorded, this should be. And I'm also curious on the 911 call that came in because it probably came in to local 911 versus like when.
Yeah, I'm assuming somebody just said, "Hey, the helicopter fell out of the sky." But I mean, maybe this is a question for Lambo. If that did happen, like let's say that there was a freaking boom strike, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to immediately separate. Like
I would say instantaneous usually.
Okay, so
you got a second. Like you can say, I won't curse on here, but you throw out the F-bomb on the radio with the depending, I think on the 407, it's actually the way you talk is on the yoke in the middle.
Mhm.
So he's got a red button he can press, and he may have got out the F word. And beyond that, you won't hear anything else.
Okay, so
It's that quick.
if it was a boom strike, then, like, if it was a boom strike, we wouldn't have seen it fly off in the way in which it did. Unless he
No, if it
pulled
was a boom
another.
strike, you would, because it just basically, the moment it hit the boom, it shattered. Everything happens in milliseconds.
Right, but
You
we're
would have
talking
an
about.
over-torque.
Correct. But, right, if we're talking about the over torque, let me grab this video.
Let's see
This
it.
one. This video right here. Let me put this up on the screen. So if it's an over torque resulting in a boom strike, like this one, here you have the helicopter coming down. You can see it's just straight nose down. You see that up there now? So if it's nose
It's
down,
basically stalled
and
in
it's-
air.
right. So it comes out. So that over torque would be happening somewhere around here, right? So
No,
no.
Can you throw it? I'm on the Discord. Can you throw it up on that channel? Sorry, I can't do both. I'm outside.
It should be. Let me make my face a little bit bigger over there then. There you
There's
go.
more vehicles.
And so, whoop, wrong screen. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me just, bam, sorry. Get the appropriate video back up there.
Because
Yeah, I
you
know.
got to think, an over torque is basically they're
So-
stalling forward speed as well.
Right.
So
That's what
they're
I'm saying.
gonna,
So
and
right
it's gonna
here,
puff.
you see it up on the screen now? You see it up on the screen now?
No, you're just spinning.
Okay. You can't see it moving?
No. Can I play both at once? Discord and YouTube?
I mean, there you have it coming out. Like it dives down and it doesn't break apart. So it's in a straight nosedive almost. Looks like it's in a pretty steep nosedive. He pulls out of it, and then the helicopter for another, I mean, probably 25 to 30 seconds of this video is flying. I mean, it's actually
Yeah,
gaining
that's
altitude
what
When he
and flying.
over torqued it, he actually he reversed his downward, so he changed his angle. So, like, when he pulls up, he over torqued, strikes, and it's coming up.
Right. But then he just flies away though, and just keeps going to the sky. Like his helicopter doesn't break apart at that point. It looks like it just continues to fly normal. And so what I'm saying is, like, if you said it would immediately result in that boom strike,
It should have. The ones I know of, they strike 25
According
seconds in
to
the
this
air,
video-
give you a live warning.
I don't know. According to this video, Matt, it's more what he said.
Come up with.
It's more what Volk said. It's like, so he comes down in a nosedive, has a lot of speed. The recipe for that is then he pulls out, which he over torques, and he pulls engine up, which he cycles up. So he pulls the stick. So he wants to have as much engine power as possible as pulling up. So he over torques, over cycles, and he's way over speed because he just came in a nosedive. Is the recipe for a boom strike and separation of the prop shaft.
okay.
Because those blades can drop. It's just kind of crazy. They can drop to about 3 feet. Like, our biggest thing was when we walked into an airplane or Huey to talk to the pilots, it was they had to have their hands in the air because it can drop down to your waist. And the tail boom's higher than that.
Yeah.
So he's going to have that forward up, but nothing's separating because everything is still moving upward. The moment it starts moving downward is when everything just falls apart. That make sense?
Yep. So that would be the logical, I guess, explanation for it. I mean, there's
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he would have had every alarm in the world going off, but he probably wouldn't have actually known how bad it was till the end. The moment it spun and he went, oh, and he knew he was over.
Yep. Yeah. So this thing has leveled off and was flying for like 30 seconds though. Like it slowly was gaining altitude. It wasn't like a massive overcorrection in altitude gain or anything like that. It was like slowly gaining altitude. So all I can think of is
Somebody's saying that the video is an old video, the video in the fog of the helicopter flying. Somebody said that in the comments. I can't confirm that, but it looks like it's not an old video because the
weather
looks very
matches.
much the same.
Right.
Yeah.
The weather definitely matches. And that's where I got to be careful with like some of the comments is like making sure that those things end up staying together. Somebody's got the flight radar of them so we can track the flight path on them. Got to take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like, here we go. Here's your flight radar from him. And so we can track his path like right up over here towards the end. Let me get this sucker blown up on the screen. Maybe that'll help out. And zoom out a little bit so we can watch where he's going. And we'll move him down his flight path just right over there towards the end. So we can see his altitude's at about 1050 the entire time as he's coming up. 707. I mean, geez, he took off at 6:59, and this thing is in the water about 15 minutes later. So he wasn't up for that
pretty
long.
much.
Yeah, he took off and just started flying. 15 minutes later, he's in the damn water. So he just goes up and starts freaking touring that whole place. And let's check out his altitude right before. So altitude right before, as it goes in. Let's go look at the last 5 minutes because likely that's where it's happening. So we got 1125 as he's going down, and he's pretty much maintaining that. There is a steep dive right there. So he goes from 1125 down to 500, 550, 600. And that's at around 715. And he's staying at 550, 6. So he did one steep dive at least. $375, $350. Yeah, I mean, that's what it would appear to be, is that he did that shit a couple times. And I wonder if we don't just play it and let that thing go. So he's taking off. He's at 500 feet, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 11, 1125, 11, 1150, 1125. So he's kind of maintaining right around 11.
That's a normal flight gain.
Sure. And I want to see if he's going to have any more of those steep freaking ones. Like, let's say he repeated that cycle a couple times of doing that, like crazy ass maneuver. Because all I see is that one.
The only other thing I could think of, I mean, you need the wreckage to figure out what failed, is the upper bearing on that mast that holds it into the combining gearbox. Is if he maintained it and the helicopter is happy, and the moment he pulled up again on the collective, if the blades just left it.
Right.
Because that bearing was damaged.
I mean, he's maintaining.
No, the blades
11...
didn't leave. The blades didn't leave. The blades stayed attached to the prop shaft because the blades were sprinting freely in the air way after they were detached. So the prop shaft had to have failed.
Well, you have the blades to the hub, and then you had a picture up earlier. It looked like the shaft from the hub to the combining gearbox, or the gearbox, was still there, which tells me the gearbox failed.
So right there,
from that photo you had of the three circled earlier,
from 11 minutes after, so right around 11 minutes after is when he did that steep dive, and then he's maintaining it like 500 for the next 2 minutes.
Here's a good photo.
So he's maintaining it 500 feet. Then 4, then 3, and then he splashes.
Very much attached.
So
Matt, look at what I just sent you now.
Okay, give me one sec.
Photo,
give me one sec, please. So right here, because you got this crap timestamp with his altitude, and so his altitude timestamp is 7:10 to 7:11. So right around 7:11 is when he starts dropping altitude. Right there. So now he's continuing to fly, and his altitude drops. It drops.
My problem is
600 feet AG.
Flight radar is those altitudes and the timestamps are not accurate because it's reporting from a computer on board the helicopter.
Right.
So,
but my point being is that, him flying away for 30 seconds afterwards and gaining altitude, he would have had to do that, and then it would have not reported any altitude, and then he would have had to crash. So if that one video of him doing that steep maneuver and pulling back out and flying off, like that might be something that he just does. You know what I mean? But that video showed him, coming down and doing that shit right over the river and then flying off.
It could be, but
the flight radar
just
shows him.
It's called a flight data recorder.
Okay.
And the flight data recorder is what I want to see,
Okay.
because that is milliseconds. It'll tell you the actual everything.
Yeah.
Flight radar it's nice. It's not accurate. If that makes sense. So he could have been falling for those 30 seconds.
Yep. So let's,
Now it may only been like 5 feet. You wouldn't know.
so here's his altitude track. I mean, you can literally see it where he comes in climbing, and he stays pretty much at altitude until right there. And then he has a steep decline between 1125 and he bottoms out at 550, jumps up to 575, and then goes to 550, then jumps up to 6, and then it's just a slow, rapid decline.
That could have been a confused computer.
Okay.
Really. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
I've had, that's a computer talking to a tower reporting to another computer, and you hope it's accurate, but it's generally not. When you get the FDR off of it, you'll know exactly what happened.
Okay.
With altitude, at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least for the time being, it looks like he had a serious drop in altitude in just a matter of freaking, because this one's coming in.
It's a mechanical failure.
11:18, and then he bottoms out 30 seconds later. But he was
I'd
diving
say
a
it's
hell
a
of a lot faster than
mechanical.
that.
Yeah, it's a mechanical failure or pilot error.
One or the
That's
other.
what it is.
At this point, it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, and I would go with the Topum strike. I've seen Jesus nuts come off. I know a lot of people are saying the Jesus nut, but the tail rotor normally stays attached so it hits the ground or water. Tail boom comes off when you get a strike.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's freaking
So
tragic.
the exact things that failed. Oh, it's horrible. I heard 3 children are also on board. But
Yeah, that's what it says. 3
I
children.
don't take helicopter tours.
Yeah, so 6 confirmed deceased. I saw 3 children.
Yeah. So, and I'd say we won't hear anything until they get all the parts and they start releasing photos, and that's when we'll know.
Yeah.
Until then, it's
They're saying that this guy was a diplomat from Spain. It was a diplomat and his family.
A diplomat and his family from Spain? Where's that coming in at?
I have not heard that yet.
Yeah, where did you see that? I've been trying to get any information on the passengers, and I have not found anything. I would
Somebody
be
said
very
it.
curious because this would make.
I'm
Put
not
it in the
saying
chat
that.
not long ago.
Okay. I mean, it would be very interesting if that's actually true, because now I'm going to be really curious of what the hell happened, if that is the case, if it is a diplomat. Is there an actual link or article or anything like that to it?
Who said it in the chat? Was it a YouTube chat or a Discord chat?
It's all Discord.
I mean, I would be kind of cautious of the conspiracy theories
Yeah,
right now.
that's my
because
problem is the conspiracy theorists that want to jump in on this stuff and say that it's a, something
I
weird.
mean, it screams mechanical failure.
It
But
does to me, like looking at it
Family-
after talking with everybody, it definitely seems like a mechanical failure. And looking at the fact that he had that rapid descent prior to freaking going down, like, within minutes, according to flight radar. And I understand that stuff's not going to be extremely accurate, as you're going to get out of like the black box or whatever the hell, the recorder.
So
yeah, you
there's
get within like 100 feet. I watch the airport all the time.
Matt, there's reports of family of 5, which makes sense, plus the pilot, of Spanish tourists.
Spanish tourists.
It doesn't say anything. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about. I don't see anything yet being diplomat, government official, or anything like that.
I'm kind of
so,
with them on that being an old video as well, because now that you kind of like take a look at the skyline right there and how that's at, not nearly like as like you can see the tops of these buildings all the way out. Like it looks like really decent visibility.
Yeah,
right there.
it's still foggy, but it's a visibility.
Yeah, it's the visibility is totally different versus what it looked like in that
the
steep
dive video.
Yeah, that steep dive. I mean, here's another look at that steep dive to where the visibility is way less than that, which kind of makes sense for it being an old video.
To me, it doesn't make sense for that to be the video because of a few reasons.
Look at the weather.
Once you looked at the weather is one very big one, but then you also once you read the flight altitude and the path that it falls and it loses altitude.
That
the
one's
fact
going
is that helicopter had no rotor with the altitude higher than the Empire State Building, because you can see the rotor falling. Right. From higher than the building of the Empire State Building, even though you could say it's in a distance and the distance and the height, it's still very high up. So, and it was only at 1125, and we know how tall the Empire State Building is. That helicopter fell for the most of that big fall that you see in the flight track. I think that helicopter was already without its rotor blades attached to it.
Yeah, and I think,
and then you also. And then you also have small items splashing around in the water way before the prop shaft hits, and then after both of those hit, the actual falling body of the helicopter comes into frame.
Yeah. That last video is from 2019. It was a helicopter crash in Midtown Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was the one where the Jesus note failed, right? I think I remember that one.
So this is just now coming out from local news. It says 6 people were killed after a helicopter believed to be carrying a family of tourists from Spain crashed in the Hudson River. In addition to the family of 5, 2 adults and 3 children, a pilot was also on board for a total of 6. When crews arrived, it was upside down in the water. FAA believes the helicopter is a Bell 206 and appears to have been taken off from downtown Manhattan. Witness told eyewitnesses that they saw the helicopter. What the hell is going on now? Stop it. Say, I heard a loud snap. I looked over and I could see a helicopter falling on its side and splash into the water, said the witness. I didn't see anyone come out. So they heard a very loud snap and then the helicopter's falling down.
I mean, you flip upside down, you got 30 seconds.
And then somebody else says,
you gotta know how the doors work.
Somebody else says, I heard 5 or 6 loud noises that sounded almost like gunshots in the sky and saw pieces fall off. And then watched it fall into the river, excuse me. So 100% mechanical failure at that point.
Yeah, it's a gearbox coming apart.
The whole damn thing just shattered. For whatever reason, the whole thing just shattered. Somebody says it sounded like a sonic boom. He said he saw the helicopter splitting in 2 with the rotor flying off. There you go.
Also, yeah, I know I heard you say earlier those blades are extremely strong. Believe it or not, those blades are hollow.
They're hollow?
Have to, it's like a 32 thousandths aluminum, I want to say is the skin. It's 32 or 28. It's been 10 years since I've had to actually fix one. It has a honeycomb aluminum inside of it. So they're technically hollow, and 6 people can pick them up. They're not heavy. I mean, they are heavy for 6 people, but they're not crazy like what you think.
That's not a solid piece of steel, right? But that's still a lot of damn weight, like going into them. Like
I'm trying to think of the weight of what they are.
They handle a lot. I mean, I could look it up real quick, just to go over it. I mean, just to have that stat, that like goes into it. But
well, the problem is they got to flex. That's why you can't. If you build them too strong, they shatter.
Correct.
So the deflection on them is, I would say, 6 feet probably at least.
Yeah.
From the root of the blade to the end of it.
Right.
Which is wild, but planes are even worse.
That's it right there. That's freaking wild. What did I say this thing was? It was a Bell 206.
Was it a Bell 206? I was trying to see on the video. I couldn't tell.
It says it's a Bell 206. Main rotor blades of Bell 206L weigh approximately 96.9 pounds. The tail rotor blades are typically 10 to 20 grams lighter.
So about 100 pounds
Yeah, I
per
can't
blade.
tow her blade by myself.
About 100 pounds per blade.
Yeah. Which
Alright,
they're
I'm gonna jump off, Matt. But if I see something, I'll send it to you.
Okay, sounds good, man. I think it's about that time. I'm really not trying to get too crazy into it, but yeah. Reportedly, it's a Bell 206.
It's
Blades
a
are about
very,
100 pounds a piece.
Very sad accident.
Yeah, whether or not it
Hey.
was overstressed or whatever, what caused it to drop altitude, but some people were hearing it freaking break apart in the sky. I mean, it's a mechanical failure. At the end of the day, it's a mechanical failure.
Hey, one more, Matt. I want to thank you, prayer, for my wife's uncle. That's it. That means a lot. I had him watch the stream when you did that, and he said thank you.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, sorry, I'm rushing it all in there. Being towards I was like, yep, we'll get it in. But yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
Always, and we'll just do some more in our own time offline. You know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets better, man. I appreciate you coming in. I didn't realize it was you.
Yeah, that's me. I had to create a whole new Discord. My Discord, I had some issues with my old Discord where I couldn't get my old Discord back.
No, that sucks, man.
Yeah. But,
Sorry about that. All right, brother. Well, I'll see you guys.
all right, guys. I'm out.
Yeah, I gotta get some food myself. I gotta get things going. So thank you guys for jumping in. I'll see you guys here in a bit.
All right, Matt.
All right.
See you, buddy. All right.
Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take off and go get myself squared away for supper and ready for this evening. In the meantime, peace, love, happiness, God bless. Sucks it's mechanical failure.